Hi everybody, I hope you're having a fabulous day. I stopped at two of my favorite local antique stores this past week, and what I have on the tray in front of you are the items that I found. There's some really interesting old antique pieces that I'm excited to share with you. Okay, the first item that I found that I thought was really interesting is this beautiful antique or vintage maybe. It is actually a hair barrette, and it has these beautiful paste rhinestones in white and yellow. I love the little flowers, and it's a really large size piece. Here is what the back of this one looks like. I just thought it was so beautiful, and I kind of pictured this in somebody's updo. Wouldn't this be so beautiful if you were getting married and you had sort of a vintage feeling theme or wedding dress? I think this would look so beautiful. And the rhinestones are actually in really nice condition. So this was the first item I picked up. So pretty, I thought. And here's a really beautiful brooch. This one has a carved shell cameo on the front. It has two little faceted rhinestones in a gold tone metal. So here's what the back of this piece looks like. It definitely looks like some of the Art Nouveau era sash pins that I've seen before, but this one is much smaller in size, but it really does have that look, and it might be from that same time period. I just thought it was really beautiful. And the booth that I found this particular brooch in had a collection of antique pins, and I took all of them that were there because she had them priced so well. So this piece was one of them. I also grabbed this really beautiful celluloid piece, and you can see it has this beautiful kind of Asian inspired scene. At least I think that's what this is depicting. You have, this waterway with this boat and these two figures in it. It's kind of arched tower-like buildings. So I'm not entirely sure what place that this is depicting or what part of the world, but something about it felt kind of Asian to me. And here's what the back looks like. Definitely a bit older. You can see remnants of a little sticker there that just needs to be cleaned up, but in really, really nice condition. And I just thought it was interesting. This one I was so excited about. So this beautiful little pin was in that same booth, and it was marked for costume jewelry. This was under $5, and they just didn't recognize what it was. So you have these beautiful faceted stones, which are actually amber. And it's interesting that these amber stones are sort of cut and faceted. I'm used to seeing, round beads or smooth polished pieces. So I just thought that was kind of interesting. It is set in sterling. You have these beautiful little swag-like drops here. Spin it around to the back. Here is what the back of this one looks like. Definitely an older piece. The central amber stone here is a little bit scuffed and scratched up, but I really didn't mind that too much. I just think it's gorgeous and was excited to find this one. And then I also grabbed this pin, which this one is kind of different in style. It's not something I normally pick up, but the reason I grabbed it is that the pin mechanism on the back certainly looked old. So you have a tube hinge there, we have a really long pin and a C-clasp. So I grabbed it just to investigate it further, and it is beautiful. You have this red sort of enamel work, this beautiful black flower and stem leaf pattern. So I don't know anything about this piece. I don't know where this would have been made. It's just kind of a different style. The pin mechanism on this, looks like it could be as old as a Victorian piece, maybe not quite that old, but the style of this feels maybe a little more modern. So yeah, I would love to know what you think about this, and if you have any more information for me on what this type of piece is called, I would love to learn. Then here is another beautiful faceted rhinestone brooch, really large rectangular shape. Here is what the back looks like. Not sure of era, this one might be more vintage. Nice large size. It looks very similar to buckles I've found that are from sort of the Deco period. Reminds me of that. Not too sure of the age of this one, but I just really liked it. I also grabbed this really beautiful crescent shaped brooch. It has some cobalt blue and clear faceted rhinestones. Here is what the back looks like. Kind of an interesting one. I really am drawn to the crescent sort of moon shape brooches. I have a few of them, but I didn't have one that looked quite like this, so I picked this one up. And then we have this really interesting gold tone and pink cabochon stone piece. I picked it up because it looked a bit older. Here's what the pin and the catch look like. I just thought it was interesting. This one I think was $4. Most of the brooches I've shown you so far were very fairly priced, which is why I just grabbed them all and decided I would do research later. But interesting pattern. We have this sort of triangular pattern in the background. I really like the beautiful pink glass stones in this. I thought this one was interesting. I also grabbed this more vintage pin. It is that atomic starburst shape, but I loved the pastel colors of this one. So beautiful. You have the larger sort of lavender color stone in the center, pinks and greens and blues. I just thought it was really gorgeous. Here's what the back looks like. Kind of reminds me of Easter tone colors, and I just really liked that. Kind of different. Oh yeah, this guy, I love him. So this is a little celluloid dog brooch. He is incredibly adorable. You can see that he has a little ring here, which most likely would have had a little leash that was attached to a tinier pin. So he is missing that element, but it's possible I have something in my jewelry stash that I could use. So just a little chain and a little pin. If I could find a way to replace that, I think that would be cute. I think he's cute as is though. Here is what the back looks like. He is marked Japan right in there. I just thought he was so adorable and charming. How cute. Oh yeah, and I grabbed this little comb, also a vintage plastic, maybe celluloid. Kind of looks like it's meant to look like a tortoise shell, though I don't think it is. But you have our beautiful rhinestones in there. Looks like some of our little comb teeth here got bent or melted or something over the years. But the actual, design element of the comb that would be showing outside of your hair is still really, really beautiful and in great shape. So I picked that one up. And then I found another barrette, which is kind of interesting. I don't typically find barrettes. I don't think I've ever purchased them before, but I did find these two on that same day in the same antique store. So this is the other one I purchased. So beautiful. I loved the blue color of these rhinestones, and these ones are actually plastic, so these are not glass, but it's definitely older. And I just thought it was really adorable. It would look beautiful in someone's hair, and I just loved the color. And it was only a few dollars, so I was happy to grab that. I also found this really pretty sterling silver hinged bangle bracelet. It still has its safety chain, and it is marked inside, and it says Siam Sterling. So just a really nice little stacking bangle. Has beautiful etching along the outside, and I also really liked that it had this etched work along both of the sides. So when you're wearing it, you would be able to see sort of that pattern on the top and bottom of it as well. I thought that was interesting. Not all of them that I've come across anyway have that detail. Really pretty. And yeah, just would make a nice stacking bangle. I thought this was an interesting find. So this pair of Danecraft gold-filled earrings are on their original card, and they even have their original price tag, which I thought was just very interesting. So it's 1/20th 12 karat gold filled, and they are genuine onyx, and they were originally $11, and I actually paid less than that for these at the antique store. So I thought that was a good score. But yes, they are gold filled screwback earrings, and they are marked on the back with some really beautiful polished onyx. So just an interesting little find. I loved that it was on its original card with its original tag. Just kind of interesting, I thought. Then here's a really beautiful vintage bracelet, and this one is actually Coro. So it is marked Coro right here on the clasp. Here is the back, so you can see the construction of these panels. But it's these really beautiful kind of soft molded flowers. We have AB rhinestones in the center of each one, and then these beautiful milk glass dangling kind of cha-cha style beads. I just thought this was so charming. It has a beautiful vintage look to it. Yeah, just a really nice piece and in really nice condition as well. And then I found this beautiful amethyst glass beaded necklace, and I thought it was interesting because it has the same type of clasp as an amethyst glass necklace I shared in my last video. So for those of you who saw that, you might remember what I'm talking about, but it has this little barrel clasp where you press it in, pull it out, and it attaches just like that. And it's most likely gold filled. The piece from my last video was gold filled, similar to this one. And the beads are actually on a chain here as well. So it's not just a thread, which I thought was nice. So these are actually beaded onto a metal chain, which is probably gold filled as well. But just beautiful amethyst glass beads. We have these beautiful faceted crystal spacers, and I just really loved it. In really nice shape. There's no chips or cracks. So that was a nice one. I also found this little necklace in with the costume jewelry pieces, just a few dollars, and I had a suspicion that these beads may not be plastic. And when I got it home, I did test it, and they are amber. Clasp here is not amber. That is just a plastic that is meant to look like amber, kind of a screw barrel clasp. But all of these beautiful little beads are amber. They're all hand knotted in between. Just a really beautiful necklace for a few dollars. And then I also grabbed another piece of vintage glass. This really long amber glass necklace. This one is very, very long. I think it's 64 inches long. I have to measure it again. But it's these beautiful cylindrical shaped amber colored glass beads. I just thought it was beautiful, and it is so, so long. I think this would be considered flapper length, but just really beautiful amber colored glass. They're all hand knotted in between. Yeah, so just another beautiful glass piece. I also found this interesting agate necklace. I just liked it. I don't know how old it is or if there's really much value in this piece, but my guess is that it would be maybe from the 70s, but it has these really beautiful polished agates, and I think I was drawn to it because I have been finding Victorian agate brooches recently, and I think they're really beautiful. I love all of the color variations and the striping patterning of the stones in those pieces, so I definitely appreciated how beautiful the stones in this necklace were as well. So you have the large teardrop piece at the bottom, and then all of these beautiful polished agates that go up to our spring ring clasp. I just thought this was very beautiful. Not particularly old, I don't think, though. I also found this little cloisonne bangle. You can see it has the enamel work on the inside of the bangle as well as on the outside. And I liked this one because this one actually opens up, so it does have, you know, a locking mechanism, but that is nice because bangles can sometimes be hard to fit over your hand. So the fact that this one opens just means it's more wearable for more people. So I thought that was nice and really beautiful, in really great condition. I also found a little baggie for $2 that had these little mother of pearl bangles. I just think these are beautiful. I think they look really wonderful all stacked up. And I do have a few other these similar types of bangles that I'm going to add these to my collection. Now, I absolutely love these vintage jewelry boxes, these little celluloid ones. I have a few of them, and I'm always happy to find them. And this one I loved, especially because it is almost like a Tiffany blue color, so I could not pass it up. Inside is a ring box. We have a little bit of black velvet there, and this is from a jeweler out of Saginaw, Michigan, which is pretty close to the area that I live, so it makes a lot of sense that I would have found it at my antique store. But a really beautiful little jewelry box. I love the shape of it and the color, so that was a fun find. And then one of my favorite finds this week was a collection of antique stick pins. Now, the dealer that I found the stick pins at had this little milk glass container full of stick pins. So I pulled some of the more special ones out and put them into this little pin cushion that I made. And then I left the ones that are a little more plain in here. So I paid $45 for the entire collection of stick pins. And the reason I bought it is because I noticed a few special ones. So we're gonna go through those a little more carefully. But these were the ones that I, didn't think were too special, but these were included in the sale. So we have just these black pins. We have these little glass ones. This one's kind of interesting, this knot silver piece. Some little pearl ones, and this, again, this little milk glass piece was included, so I like that too, so not a bad deal. So here are the stick pins that I have found. Some of these I have shared before. I will pull out the ones that are new and we will take a look through those. This one I really, really loved. This is a piece of branch coral, so it is genuine coral wrapped in this beautiful gold, most likely gold filled setting. I have not tested the metal or anything, but I'm fairly certain it's probably gold filled. Really, really beautiful Victorian style. So this is probably a Victorian stick pin. It's definitely a style I've seen before in Victorian brooches, and was really happy to find one. I don't have a piece like this in my collection yet, so kind of a cool find. And I feel like even this brooch alone was probably worth the price that I paid for the lot. So that was a fun one. Now this one, though it looks unassuming, was actually the reason that I purchased the lot. And this has a piece of glass in it that is actually very rare and hard to find. And this is Saphiret glass, which I have never found before, and my lighting is really not doing this justice. I might move. So I wanted to move this more into the sunlight for you so you could really see what this piece looks like. I feel like my lighting just wasn't doing it justice. So this little piece of glass is something I recognized, and it is actually Saphiret glass. And Saphiret glass is made by using a blue, I believe it's a cobalt blue glass, and the artisans would add real gold to that glass mixture, which would give it this really beautiful iridescence. So you can see as I turn the glass, it kind of shifts from that beautiful blue color to almost like a brownish kind of taupe color. And that is really how you identify this glass. It has a very particular glow and color to it. So I was just really excited to have found this. I've never found it before. I know it's very rare and hard to come across. So yes, this little piece of unassuming glass is the reason I purchased the lot. And I believe this was probably rolled gold, and you can see how there's still some bit of gold around the bezel of the glass, but most of the other gold has worn, so it's not in the best condition. I do think there's also kind of some dirt underneath our glass stone there, but the glass itself is not scratched, it's not chipped. It's actually really beautiful, and I'll try to put in a better shot of it in the sunlight so you can really see how it glows. Just was really excited to find this. I've never found it before, and if you've been around my channel for a while, you probably know that I am a really big fan of dragon's breath glass. I have this little stick pin of dragon's breath glass, and it has a very similar feel to it in that it has this little blue iridescent sheen. But here you can see that they are different. You know, the colors, the way that it shines is very, very different. So I find dragon's breath glass a lot more frequently. It is not quite as rare as the Saphiret glass. So this is just kind of a nice visual to show you the difference, hopefully. I also really like this beautiful little Keshi pearl one. I really like the little metal setting that is holding the pearl in. It looks very Art Nouveau in style to me. It's on a gold pin, and I haven't tested the metal. This one could be like a 9-karat gold maybe, or gold filled. Really beautiful, I thought. And I do really like these 3 antique pins together. I think they make a really beautiful, interesting little collection here. And I think these 3 were definitely worth the price I paid. This interesting one was also in that stick pin lot. You can see there's a little bit of damage. We're missing a rhinestone, but that's pretty easily replaced. You have this little piece of glass up on the top. It does have a little chipping, but I thought it was interesting. It's a really fun look. This one I thought was particularly cool and unique. This one has a little bird, and I believe it's made out of brass, and he's holding onto these beautiful aventurine art glass beads that are dangling down. So how adorable. And this one has a much shorter pin, so I don't know if this was worn differently than the longer stick pins that were in this collection, but I loved the glass beads, I loved the little bird, and I thought this one was pretty unique. I'm gonna pull all 3 of these out together because I think they're similar in style. So these are all faux pearl and rhinestone pieces, and I just think they're really adorable. These were also included in that lot. This glass stick pin was in the lot as well. It's got a really interesting pattern, probably a molded piece of glass in this really vibrant red color. Interesting one. So yeah, in total, I think there was 38 stick pins in the little milk glass container for $45. I thought that was a great deal, again, specifically for the Saphiret glass, which I absolutely love. The Keshi Pearl, the Coral, I mean, those three alone were well worth that price, I think. And then some of these other stick pins are ones that I've had in my collection. I've shared them on the channel before, but I just put together this little cushion to display them in the other day. After I found these other stick pins, I thought, well, now I really need a better way to display them. So that is that piece. I also picked up another antique photograph, and I grabbed this one because I loved her. She looks so studious and sweet. I love her glasses. I love the bow in her hair, her polka dot dress. I just thought she was wonderful. I loved her, so I picked this one up. It's a really nice size photograph as well. She's got a very kind, sweet face, I think. Something else kind of fun that I wanted to share with you are these interesting pieces. I want to give a shout out to two different channels who inspired me to make these. So one is Hannah over at Fleurs de Montaigne. She shared in a video recently a little beaded spider that she made, and I thought it was so adorable. It had antique buttons for the body and these really beautiful beaded legs. Loved it. And then also Tarnished Treasures, and that is a channel that I found recently. I'm kind of new to her channel, but I absolutely love the pieces that she finds and how she displays and creates pieces with the antique, interesting items that she finds out thrifting and at antique stores and things. And she made some little bug critters out of vintage jewelry parts. Both of those channels and videos inspired me, so I just want to give them credit. I'm going to link both of their channels down in the description of this video, so if you haven't already, definitely go and check them out, give them a follow. I think you'll enjoy it. So I have a whole bin of vintage rhinestone pieces that are broken, damaged, missing stones, etc. And I've held on to them for years, hoping that I could repair them or use them for something else, craft with them. And I thought that this would be such a fun way to use some of those pieces. So these two items were broken. You can see that this used to be a brooch that had a broken pin. This was just a piece that had broken off of something else. And to me, it already sort of looked like a little bug head with the antenna. So I wired these together and I made these little legs with seed beads, which I also have a whole bin of seed bead necklaces and bracelets that I've been saving because I just figured they might come in handy one day. And yeah, I just think this is a really fun way to use these pieces. And this is my first attempt. Hopefully I'll get better at creating these little critters, but this one I thought was beautiful. So this brooch, I absolutely love. It has these little molded glass leaf elements, and it was missing one. And I just know that it's next to impossible to find the exact size, color, shape, molded glass beads to repair it. I can't imagine that I will anytime soon. So I figured, let's turn this little guy into something useful and something that I can display. So again, I added just some little seed bead legs. I think he turned out really adorable. This one looks a little more like a spider, and I think this one kind of looks like a little beetle. Really cute, I think. And then this one, something a little different. So I've had this fur clip for a long time, and it was missing all of the stones. It didn't have any stones in it, in really, really rough shape. You can see the clip on the bottom here. So I replaced all of the rhinestones with these beautiful kind of ruby red stones, added back some clear rhinestones to the little leaf, which I felt looked like wings, and then just added some little antennas and a little rhinestone on the front. So I feel like these are adorable, and it's a fun way to repurpose these pieces and items. And if I ever wanted to, I could easily pull off, you know, the wired elements, this little rhinestone, the antennas, and turn it back into a fur clip if I needed to or wanted to. So I'm not really damaging any pieces. These are pieces that were already broken. But just a kind of a fun little craft I wanted to share with you. Hopefully I'll get even better at making these. These were really, really fun to make. Cost me $0 because I already had all of the elements, including the wire, to make these little guys, and I think they turned out really adorable. So I'm excited to create a little family of little vintage jewelry critters. So cute. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you had a favorite piece out of this haul. I am definitely partial to this incredible hair barrette. I just think it's stunning. Also the stick pins, of course. This was a really, really fun find. Was really excited about that. Lots of beautiful brooches. This little amber one, this was exciting to me. I really loved this, especially finding pieces like this in the costume jewelry section is one of my favorite things. Don't skip the costume jewelry section of your antique stores because people miss things all the time, and it's really where you can find some good treasures. So yes, thank you so much for being here and spending some time with me. I hope you have a wonderful day and rest of your week, and I will see you in the next one.